We are live. All right, this is the first Deconstruction. That's my camera I'm looking at. We're breaking down, well, that's not the camera I'm looking at. It's the camera I'm talking to. That was a good introduction. All right, we're breaking down songs. We're going to break down Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles. Ringo Starr played the drums on this. We'll have some interesting thing about that fill, and we're actually getting volume from our phone, from my phone. All right. Here's how we play this. One thing right away. Song's at 95 BPM. We'll hear how fast that is. But to make it easier, we're going to start at 71 BPM. So the point of this channel, the point of what we're doing is we're going to break down these drum parts, understand it, what's going on, deconstruct it. Then in the future, we'll add bass onto it. So in 2 days, we'll probably do that. And then every day after that, or every 2 days, we'll probably do a new instrument, depending on how challenging the song is. All right, 71 BPM. Here is the low tom. If you guys have questions while we're doing this live stream, if anybody's watching, currently there is no one watching. If there's anybody watching, ask a question. I will try to look at it and answer. So 71 BPM. Now, one of the instructions right away that John wrote, John R. Tabber, our sheet music writer, wrote for us is play tom lighter. So, you know, in the beginning, it's probably not played. Instead, it's probably 1 and 2 and 3. It's kind of a background instrument to everything else that's going on. If you're newer to drums and you're trying to put this all together, just play the tom at whatever volume is comfortable for you. All right. So let's hear how fast this is and kind of see what we can do on it. So actually, I'm only going to just add that tom right away. Try not to rush it. And then actually, if you're new to drums or just, you know, it's a challenging beat for you in the beginning, I'm going to get that metronome doing and tell you how I would approach this. So it's easy to play loud. Anyone can play loud, I feel like. Gotta play loud and slow, though. And now, instead of being loud, I'm just going to lower my tempo, or my volume. And now I'm going to see how soft I can get. Back to medium and loud without rushing it, hopefully. Now, that's a good thing to do with the metronome going on. It's a good thing to do without it, so quiet. And just, you're trying to get control. Have control of your hand and how to play. Now medium. And medium is probably what I want to aim for when I'm playing this part. And then loud. All right. That was boring, but let's move on. But it's good to practice that way, even though it might seem a little boring. So we're going to just put the kick in. The speed is pretty self-explanatory, but I'll break it down. So it's 1 and 2 and. Okay, so on that beat 1, kick in low tom, tom. So it's 1 and 2 and. Okay, on beat 3 of that measure goes 3 and. So a kick on the 3 and the and. Okay. All right, so very slowly, we're going to play that beat. And I'm going to actually lower that tom beat. Though I missed the kick drum there. So that tempo isn't bad at all. Just keeping that in 71, so it's like 24 BPM slower than the 95 that we're supposed to go. Let's look at the next measure after that. So now we got 2 kicks both times on the 1 end and then the 3. Cool. So one probably good thing to practice would be to do those measures back and forth because we have that changing kick drum pattern. Back to that first one. I mean, at 71 BPM, if you're new, it might be difficult, but just repeat it over and over again. So let's try those two measures at 95 then, full speed. And we'll just kind of repeat it a couple times in a row. Again, it just depends where you're at level-wise. Might be hard to play, might not be. We're going to actually I feel like the second measure is the idea a lot of the time. I don't need that there. So let's just do the second measure for, 8 times, if I can count to 8 and play at the same time. So actually, let's do it. And I'm going to quit saying actually. I'm going to put that right there so I remember to not say actually. We're just going to play this on a loop at 71, so it's a little bit slower, a little bit easier for us. I did not start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was either 7 or 8 times. But it gives you a loop to practice with, and that'll make it better and easier for you to work on it. All right, let's talk about this fill. Now, for this fill, we're actually going to slow it down a little bit more. We're going to slow it down to 45 BPM, just because of those 16th notes, and there's a lot of weird movement. All right, oops, 45. Now, Ringo Starr was a left-handed drummer, and so he led with his left hand more so than his right. So any fill that I would typically think of, like leading with my right hand, 1 E and da, he probably played 1 E and da. Oh, so he's a left-handed drummer that played on a right-handed kit. So that's the difference, right? So like even how I wrote this fill out would be how I would approach that if I was a left-handed drummer, but I think it makes sense for where he puts his accents, and so it's just nicer to play it the way that he would have played it. So right away on that first half, we have that ghost note on the end of 1. So it's 1 and 2. Oh, don't hit the mic. 1 and 2, So kick drum, 1 and. So little ghost note, we're just and, right? 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Okay. And then here's where it's going to get a little weird, that of 2. So it'd be like 1 and 2, 1 and 2, And actually, that's even a great way to play it. Just going to listen to the click. We're only going to do the first 2 beats of the measure, but we're going to go 1 and 2, a 1 and 2, a 1 and 2 to kind of learn the space. One and 2, a 1 and 2E and a 1 and 2E and a 1 and 2E 1 and I might not even worry about that ghost note right away, just as I get the rhythm down. I'm not making excuses for myself. I am making excuses for myself. 1. It's actually more like pick your battles. Like right now I need to get that rhythm down, and so I'm going to make that my focus. As I get that rhythm down, I'm going to start thinking about that ghost note. I'm going to try to do both together. We'll see if it happens. So first just click 1 and 2 E and a 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 1 and 2 E and a. Brain froze. 1 and 2 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 1 and 2 E and a. And 2 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 1 and 2 E and a. Now, what I just did there is what I try not to do. I was putting an accent on that second one. Instead, it should be just a little tiny bit louder. Just a little bit louder, not much. So it's also weird to hit that would be the left hand, so 1 and so the second half is going to start with this left hand on 3, so 3 and 3 and and you see those accents on the end of 4 E and 3, so slow 3 and 3 and same thing. I'm going to think about those accents, but I'm not going to make it my main kind of thought process. I'm going to add it in if it makes sense, but if not, that's okay. And 2 E and 1 or 3, I'm going to count it. 3 and 4 E and 3 and 4 E and 3 and 3 and 3 and 4 E and 3 and 3 and 4 E and 3 and 4 E and 3 and 3 and 4 E and 3 and 4 E and. All right. So, and then one thing that I notice when I'm playing it, when I try to put this whole thing together, the beat 2, so 2 E and is fine, but then all of a sudden I always want to not rush, but I always want to make beat 3 longer. So I try to go 2 E and 3 and that 3 always gets a little bit long because I'm thinking about that dotted 8th note. So I'm going to try not to do that, or if I do that, I will point it out. Three just clicks. 4, 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 1 and 2 E and 3 and and 2 E and 3 and 1. See, I rushed it so much that I was early to get to 1. So just to be aware of it. I'm going to try to do a couple where I just click through it. 1 and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and 1. One and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and I can just tell that I'm not totally synced up with it. And just click it through a couple times, get it back in your brain, and then play it, and then go back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Also, playing that slow at 45 BPM can almost make it harder to play, but it's still good to force yourself to play it that slow to really understand it, especially leading with my right hand on a couple beats that I think should be led with my left. It just causes my brain to think a little bit more. Let's try to do 4 in a row of this, and then we'll move to a faster pace with it. One and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and 1. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E. Oh, put a kick drum in that doesn't belong. I kind of could tell that my rhythm was getting shaky, so I wanted to count it out, but then it just caused my brain to overload. Let's speed it up to 50. Let's just actually go to 50. Two, 3, 4. Ooh, I'm gonna do the breakdown with the stick clicking versus just counting 4. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and. You know, and one time I got the ghost note right, the other time I didn't. One time I was too loud on this toms. Next time I was fine. I just really want to make sure I don't have to go super loud on the low toms. So if I do an accent on the first snare or the second snare, all of a sudden everything has to be that volume, and then the toms need to be louder. Yeah, it just becomes a lot. All right, let's do 4 times in a row. Cool. All right, let's go to 55. Let's just go to 60. So you could see how little time we spent on that first part, the first 3 measures of the song, because it's just playing that. But this fill is just a little bit more difficult, a little bit more movement going on, more counting, so it just takes more time. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and Now you can hear my rhythm's a little sloppy, partly because I'm thinking there's nobody yet watching my live stream. So that's part of what I'm thinking about. Just focus. Gotta focus while you're playing. So let's do it again. I just gotta watch my rhythm and think about it when I'm sloppy. I was really trying to get the ghost notes and the accents correct, and my rhythm got sloppy. So just play it again. One and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and you can hear the minute I count or the second I count or when I count. It's just easier. I don't, I'm not guessing on that rhythm. I actually know the rhythm, and then I take the counting away. Sometimes still count in my head, sometimes not. So let's go up to 1. Actually, let's jump up to 71 because then we'll probably put this all together. Because 71 is 25% slower than the actual song, which is a good kind of place to aim. 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and. I froze because I wanted to hit it with my left hand. 3, 4. Now, my rhythm is just sloppy. So I'm going to go back to clicks. One and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and. My rhythm 100% fell apart. 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and. Nobody heard or saw that. Because yet, nobody's watching. Which is great. I can make all the mistakes in the world and no one's ever going to find out. I can make all the jokes too and no one's going to laugh. Now I'm talking to myself. I'm just not thinking that rhythm. 3, 4, 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and you can hear, don't give a shit right now about those accents. I'm just trying to get that beat down without thinking too much about everything else that's going on. Two, 3, 4, 1 and 2, a 3 and a. And 2, thinking too much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and. 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and. Now it's funny, you can hear me hesitate, or I hear myself hesitate, partly because I'm thinking about the next thing I want to do. And then I'm just not paying attention to that 16th note rest on 4, and I like to rush it just a tiny bit. So I mean that it just drums take focus. Any playing of an instrument takes focus. All right, we're gonna try to put that whole intro together at 25% slower, which would be 71 BPM. And much like I said earlier, it'll take a lot of focus to play that and not make any mistakes. Good news again, no one's watching yet, so any mistakes I made are make. no one will ever know about. So we're just going to let this play through a loop, and then we'll jump in on the second time. Maybe a little bit bigger. 3, 4, 1, and okay, that's the idea. Now we're going to do it a couple times in a row. I just want to talk about it. You know, thinking about what's coming up next in the song, I have to think about that fill. I have to think about going from 1 and 2 and you know, I just have to be ready to go kick on the 1. And actually going back into the first verse, you have to think about the same thing, going 1 and 2, a 3 and a 1 and so we'll practice that in a minute. Let's do those 4 measures again. So I'm just going to use my right hand to kind of gauge that tempo that I'm going to have to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, really just hesitating on those fills because I'm thinking about doing a live stream at the same time. So I just need to calm down. But a good way to work on that after this measure is just a measure of kick drum, right? If we start at the beginning of the song again, that's exactly what's happening there, and it's exactly what we're going into in the next section. So we will do that here and just really work that down, or work on that. But instead of doing 71, since I'm struggling, and if I'm struggling with it a little bit, you might struggle with it as well. Let's just go to like 60 BPM. Very relaxed. So we'll just do those 2 measures, and that'll kind of prep me for getting used to that loop that we were already working on. And it happens in the actual song that way as well. Sometimes it doesn't happen. You do a fill, and it goes into a different section of the song. So you may want to work on that differently. And 3 and 4. Now 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and so just got to go back to the basics. 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and and a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and So I rushed into the 4. But you get the idea. You know, you're going to make mistakes. And then if I was doing that a lot, I would spend some time just on beat 3 and 4 of the fill, going 3 and until I don't have to think about that spacing anymore. And a lot of it's just that 16th note, the dotted 8th note before, 2 E and wants me to make 3 E or something like that, or just delay that beat, I guess. All right, we're going to try to put that whole intro together again. I say we because I hope you're playing along at home or wherever you're at. All right, those 4 measures. One, 2, 3, 4. So I rushed that fill a ton. A lot of it's just nerves and thinking about what's going on. You know, having to film with a recorder with all these cameras and everything. But I need to be able to nail that fill, so I'm going to go back to just counting that fill out every time I get there until I'm ready to play it. One and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and. This time I'll try to play it. Little sloppy, but you're getting the idea. And 2, a 3 and a 4 E and. Cool. All right. We're going to try that all at 95. And actually, let's do if there's anything in the verse. Yeah. So the verse has a different kick drum pattern right here. So we're just going to keep stuff slow for a sec because I think it's good to learn something slow and speed it up over time. So tomorrow's live will actually be speeding this song up a little bit and seeing any sections that we didn't get a chance to work on. So let's go back to that 60 BPM because I think it's just a nice relaxed tempo for this song. And we kind of see in the verse, we're changing up these kick drum patterns a lot. So this one is kick, kick, snare, and kick, kick, snare, kick. And then in the next measure, which we're just going to repeat the same measure over and over again, but the next measure would actually start with the kick on 1. So it's kind of like on the 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So yeah, let's actually play it the way that it's. We'll just play those 2 measures, at 60. Now, we are still at 0 people watching, which is fine. What I would love to see is if you do watch later, because it's live, but you can watch whenever you want, put a comment below. What do you need more help with? What's a good song for next time? I see each song taking us about 2 weeks to break down. A day or 2 for drums, a day or 2 for bass, just depending on the instruments we choose and how long we spend on each section or how complicated it is. So if you have a good idea or if you needed something explained differently, I'll make separate videos just to break that stuff down. Also, I forgot to mention this before, link in the bio, link in the description where you can get music for this song or a bunch of our other music, and check out our blog. All right, these 2 measures at 60 BPM. Nice and relaxed. 3, 4. So I'm messing up a little bit when I have to do those 3 in a row. 3 in a row would be from that 8th note. So when it's and 1 and, or and 1 and, yeah. I'm just not thinking about it because I just wasn't looking at it the right way. One, 2, 3, 4. And 1 and. Ooh, I missed that one. Just was zoning out. 4. Cool. So that's at 60 BPM. Let's look at that next fill. So we're going to again go down to that 45 BPM, which I think is good for the fills. Because there's a lot of stuff going on and some backward stuff. So kind of going to treat it the same way that we did the other one. Look at the first half first. And just see what's going on. Let's make that a little bit bigger. So your beginning is going 1 and, very easy, 1 and 2, okay? So you got that on 2. And then it's going to the high tom, right, left. Oh, and that kind of sucks because you're going, which again for Ringo is understandable because he's doing the other way around and he leads, or he's doing it with his left hand and he leads with his left. So we're going 1 and 2, a 3, okay? And then we're going to be back to the low tom. And 4E end. So I'm going to mess that up. But you're going to learn how not to play it for a second, and then from that, learn how to play it. Or maybe I'll play it right off the bat. So I'm going to try to loop just the first beat. That of the high tom, the high tom doesn't excite me to have to go 1 and 2, a 1 and 2, a 1. But we'll see if it works. If it doesn't work, then we'll make it a bigger loop. It's just nice to be able to loop half a section. Think about just that for the beginning. So 1 and 2, a 1 and 2E and a 1 and 2E and. A 1 and 2E and a 1. But you kind of see what I mean by that 3. But let's break down the second half. Not the whole thing. So actually I'm going to play it without the click thing first. But I'm going to leave that blue up so I don't have to blah, blah, blah. So 3, 3, 3. Just sit there and practice that and go 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Until your brain gets used to it. Because if you're not a left-handed drummer, it's a little odd. 3, enda, 3, enda. All right, and then it'd be 3 and 4 E and 3 and nice and slow. We'll just click it out. 3 and 4. So 3 and 4 E and 3 and 4 E and 3 and 4. Nice and slow. It's easy to want to rush us. to hit the rim if you're not thinking about it. And it just becomes a nice rudiment practice. You're just working on moving across the drum set and sticking. All right, drink break. It's very important to denounce anything that I'm doing. Not denounce, other people would, but announce. All right, we're going to put that whole measure. You kind of know the system already. We're going to click that through a couple times. And then we'll jump in. Hopefully you're following along at home. So 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and. I froze the second I tried to put it together. I'm going to play it without the metronome first. Mostly because that right tom. I was working on this last night, practicing, and I learned it all. And then realized after I learned it that I was playing on the mid tom. And so just getting used to that and how my memory has it done versus how I have to play it. All right, so really slowly just so I can process it. Okay. 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and. So watch me being late coming back to this because my brain is thinking too much. Let's try it and see how I do. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and. Rushing it. Oh, I hit the desk with my hand and I thought for a second. So rule number 1 as a drummer, never think. I won't get any negative comments for that. 2, 3, 4. And a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and. One and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and. And you could hear me the last couple of times rushing on that, or accenting a little bit more just because, guys, I'm thinking. Just need to not think. All right, we're going to speed it up and see how I do. We're going to take it small. We'll just go 55. One and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and 1. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and. I was actually thinking about making one of these into a short and totally zoned out. So pay attention. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and. And it's just practicing it over and over and just playing it, getting that rhythm down, sitting there in a groove, hitting repeat. All right. That kind of covers most of it. Let's try to put maybe those measures together in the verse. We're going to go back down to a slower tempo. Yeah, let's try 60 and see how I do. We'll just hit those 4 measures in the verse, kind of give you the idea of what's going on. So the first couple times I play it, I'm just going to count that fill out. One and 2, a 3 and a 4 E and. One and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and. I missed the kick. Okay, so I know what I have to do because I missed the kick and I was thinking about not screwing up. I just need to work on these 2 measures back and forth and get used to that pattern of going into it. And that will cause less fuck ups. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get that groove going, click out the fill, and then try to actually play the fill and not fall on my face. We'll see. One and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and. Sloppy. Trying not to rush it because it's slow. 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and. Rushed it. 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and relax. One and 2 and 3 and 4. I screwed up. All right, so tomorrow we're going to hit the same stuff, faster tempos. Hopefully somebody watches this. Hopefully you have a comment. Again, you can get the sheet music. The link is below. You can check out our site. Link is below as well for that. Ask me questions. Tell me other things you want to work on. I see us working on drums for one more day, getting some tracks to jam with, and then moving to bass in 2 days. Cool. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching.